Hey guys, Jason Morris here with Real Estate Agents That Really Work. So I thought I'd do a Facebook Live. I'd answer some of your real estate questions. I seen a question a little earlier in one of the groups. I wanted to come on live and touch base on it. Was okay. So here was the situation. So there was a real estate agent, and they're making posts on their Facebook, and they've got I don't know if it's a friend or family member, but they got one person on their Facebook that what they're doing is they make a post and that person says something negative about their post or negative about the property they posted or something like that. And I've seen this a lot. I've had this to happen to me. I had one situation where I had hey John, how's it going, man? I hope things are going well. So I had this one situation a while back. It was actually my cousin's husband. And they live kind of close to us, and we know a lot of the same people. And what would happen was I was a lot more active in posting my listings on my first personal Facebook page, and so I would post my listing there, and then he liked to comment things like, it'd be a $200,000 house, and he'd go, "Oh, that's not worth it. It doesn't even have a garage." Or he'd post something like, "Oh, well, I'll give them $75,000 for it." It was actually like really offensive because sometimes in one situation he posted something like that where it was like $100,000 property, and he was posting on it that he didn't think it was worth any more than 40, and if they wanted to sell it, they really wanted to sell it to call him. And the thing was, the guy was a really good friend of mine. It was my client on Facebook. So what I ended up doing was I just blocked him. And I think sometimes that's what you got to do in those situations is if you have that family. Hey, Mark Queener, how's it going, man? Who else is on here? Put a comment down in the comments and let me see you. But I think it's best sometimes to do that because, even if it's a friend or family member, and this was a person that I regularly see at my grandma's house for dinner or lunch, when we have stuff. Man, I'm doing good. And we missed Hurricane Irma. So this was a guy that I regularly seen for stuff at my grandma's house, and finally, I just blocked him on Facebook. It was kind of a little bit stressful. It was like I'd see the notification come up. I'd be like, "Oh, damn, his name's Mike." I'd say, "Oh, damn, what has Mike put on my listing again now?" And so I would just go ahead and block him. So, hey, Christina. Hey, Joanna. Hey, Cheryl, how's it going? Hey, Katie, Panama City Beach. I love Panama City Beach. I actually, funny story, my dad growing up was a contractor, and he built a couple of hotels in Panama City. So I spent the summer of, I think, 98 and 99 in Panama City when they had, when MTV Spring Break was there. So yeah, mate. Eliminate negative people. Hey, Christina, Jacksonville. Hey, Lee in Simpsonville. You're right down the road from me. But so what questions do you guys have? What real estate problems are you having? I'm here to answer your questions. And hey, if you send me a message, I will give you a free copy of my book, How to Be a FSBO Master, to the first, let's say the first 20 people that send me a message. So I think we've got 15 or 18 people on here live. It keeps going back and forth. Send me a message through Facebook. Tell me you want the book, and I'll send you a free copy. So, hey, Steve, in Nashville, Tennessee. Man, we were in Gatlinburg for the last week, and I'll tell you what, I absolutely love Tennessee. And it's one of my favorite places. Tennessee and Salt Lake City are my favorite places we've been to in the last couple of years, and we've been to a ton of places. Hey, Joanna, send me a message and I'll give you a free copy. This book, How to Be a FSBO Master, for you guys that don't know. Patty, just send me a message. Hey, Gianna. Hey, Mark. Yeah, you guys just send me a private message through Facebook and I'll get you guys a copy. Hey, Jana. Janie, not Jana. Janie Beach. Yeah, so Gatlinburg was really, really awesome. I went to this really great mastermind event there, and learned a lot of really cool stuff, and some of it some of it doesn't really translate well to real estate, but some of it I've been like testing out, and it works fantastic for real estate. And there's some amazing stuff. So, my group coaching, one of the things I wanted to do with that, I'm actually doing it. I have the Thursday calls now, but I'm doing a Wednesday call and a Friday call that's more of an accountability type thing. And what I'm doing is we got Chicken Fridays where we're going to talk about your chicken list, the people that you're scared to contact. And so there's going to be another call added to my group coaching on Fridays and another call added to my group coaching on Wednesdays where we're going to talk about your whale list. You know, what to do with the people you're scared to call on Fridays, what to do, you know, how to contact those people that we're going to call them whales. And those whales are people that are, you know, they're big. Either it's big listings, big purchase prices, or it's people that, you know, builders, things like that, that rehabbers, investors, people that could potentially change your business or change the direction of your business because they're doing enough volume that they could actually do that. So, hey, Elijah. Yeah, man, let me know how things are going. Hey, Perry. Hey, Steve. I tell you guys what, that FSBO Master book is absolutely great. What I did was, that book was like in the making for a while, and what I did was I tried to put my entire FSBO system there. So what you can do is you can actually get my book, go down through it, and you can put together your entire listing system from that one book. It is. I get messages, I get emails, I get all kind of stuff every day about how that book's changing people's businesses, especially if you're a brand new agent, you don't have those systems in place. That is the book to have. So Elijah asked, I know how many contacts calls I need per day, but my market, I have maybe 3 new FSBOs or expireds a day. Thoughts? One thing I would do is, if you're not doing it already, I'd call old for sale owners and I'd call expireds. I'll tell you, back in 2006, we were like that in my market where it really, hey, thanks, man, where we didn't have any inventory. I mean, you'd pull up oceanfront condos and there would be like 3 on the market. I mean, we're about there in our market, but our market's kind of funky right now. Like for a month, we're on fire, and then for a month, you're going, wow, nobody's looking at things. So it's kind of funky right now in my market. But what I would start doing is you know, you might want to look at a service like RedX GeoLeads, and start calling hot neighborhoods and neighborhoods that have had a lot of appreciation. It's pretty powerful when you're calling a neighborhood that was $100,000 a year ago and now it's $150,000, and you can tell people like, hey, if you want to sell your house, I can put $50,000 more in your pocket than what I did a year ago. Or you know anybody in the neighborhood that wants to sell their house? When my market was hot like that, I started looking for like creative ways to get leads and stuff. And Elijah, send me a message, man. I'll give you something that'll help you out. I wrote this book, 53 strategies to get more listings, and I'll give you a copy of it. It's on Amazon, but I'm going to give you a copy, man. Just send me a message and remind me so I can do it after this. So I would start getting a little bit more creative with your lead sources. I would start looking at list pendants, and that's where I would start looking at list pendants that your municipalities have filed. I think that's a great one. It's where basically there was a building, there's something that they didn't follow code, they didn't pull a permit, they didn't do something, maybe it's just overgrown and the county has filed a list pendants. I would look at those. Dude, I would look at eviction filings. Now, to look at eviction filings, you're not necessarily mailing to the person that's being evicted. The tenant that's being evicted, they don't have any money. They probably aren't going to be able to buy anything from you. But the homeowner that's evicting them, lots of times, man, when you get to that point, you just want to be done with the place. I just evicted a tenant out of a place of mine. Dude, when I got to that point where I was evicting her, she kept putting her damn mattresses up on the roof of the house. And I mean, that was the first thing that there was a red flag there. But dude, when I got to the point where I finally could sit her stuff out, I was so frustrated with the property. I really just wanted to get rid of it. And and I ended up keeping. I ended up didn't get not getting rid of it. But man, if I'd have had somebody to contact me during that little period between the writ of ejectment, her getting out, and me actually getting the place cleaned up, dude, I did not want nothing. I was sick of it. Honestly, I was like, I was so mad, so angry with the whole situation. I was like questioning the thing. And this is a property that has no debt or anything, so it isn't like I was out mortgage payments or anything. And I'm like a professional landlord, so I mean, and I've been doing rental stuff for years. But when you get to that point, the average person out there, they can't really afford to pay for stuff. They can't really afford to pay if they miss a mortgage, or they miss 2 or 3 mortgage payments, or 2 or 3 rental payments. Then that's like a really big deal for them. I would do that, man. I would start calling for rent by owners. And the reason I'd start calling for rent by owners is for rent by owners are not going to be business for you today. What they're going to be, though, is they're going to be business in the future, because on a long enough timeline, one of two things happens to every person that rents a house. Either they move and the lease ends, or they get evicted. So what I would do is I would start calling these for rent by owners, and you just want to touch base. You just want to send them your pre-listing package. You just want to send them your stuff out. You want to put them in your database and their long-term follow-up. And we know, there's one thing we know for sure, that more than likely they signed a 1-year lease. Okay, so if they rented the place in September, in September 2017, more than likely September 2018, their lease is going to end. So if you've been following up with that seller like every 4 to 6 weeks for the last 12 months, hopefully you're going to be top of mind when that tenant gets ready to move out, man. So I would start doing that too. I mean, it's not going to be now business. It's probably going to be in business in 6 to 12 months, but dude, you're going to need a paycheck in 6 to 12 months too, right? So Mark Queener asked, do I call the do not calls? Mark, I call everybody. Okay, and here's what happens. When somebody tells me, and it doesn't happen near as much as what it used to. I think it's just the market that I'm in, though. So when somebody tells me, oh, I'm on the do not call list, I go, oh man, I'm sorry, I didn't see that. What I can do, though, is add you to my personal do not call list, and I won't call you back. I'm sorry, and I'll take you off my list. And so I do typically take them off my list. But then the next question I ask, once I get through the, hey, I'm sorry, I didn't see where you're on the list thing, I immediately ask them, hey, but you do want to sell your house, right? I mean, since I got you on the phone, you do want to sell your house, right? And typically, Mark, the do not call list, my understanding, it hasn't been updated in years. I think that, and a lot of people are going to disagree with me with this, read the law and make the decision yourself. I call everybody. Man, rarely do I have somebody even bring the whole thing up. If they do, I apologize. And then I apologize, tell them I'll take them off my list, and then I ask them if they still want to sell their house. So, Kitra, man, I'm sorry, I don't know why. I think it might be in your settings, or maybe your Facebook is just turned down. So, hey, Lee, how's it going? Hey, what questions do you guys have? I'm here to answer your real estate questions, help you with your problems, things like that. I'm going to give away 15, 20 copies of my How to Be a FSBO Master book. Just send me a message. Tell me you want the book. You got to send me a private message, though, and tell me you want the book. So, hey, Lee, how's it going? Services to find pre-foreclosures and maybe absentee owners. The absentee owner thing, I'm not really sure about. I've never really done a lot of absentee owner calls. Pre-foreclosures, Red-X offers a great service for pre-foreclosures. I do subscribe to it. And I think it's a great service. Pre-foreclosures, the problem with them right now is they're really low. And pre-foreclosures are really down in most markets across the country. So it's like, 7, 8 years ago, God, I would get so many I couldn't hardly keep up with them. Today, maybe I have 2 or 3. Pre-foreclosures are kind of funky, though, man. Once the list pendants is filed, you kind of have to follow up with them for a little while. You can't really with pre-foreclosures, you can't really call them and say, hey man, I saw your house is in foreclosure. What do you want to do? You can't really do that. You kind of have to be a little more tactful about it. You have to call and just go, hey Elijah, this is Jason Morris from eXp Realty. I saw that you. I was wondering if you knew anybody looking to sell their house in your area. And sometimes that would be my initial call, because sometimes I would get the pre-foreclosure information when I was really doing a lot of them. I was getting the pre-foreclosure information before they were actually served the foreclosure notice. So it really was a little bit crazy, but so that's something you kind of want to be careful about, because you can't really call them and just go, hey, I saw where you're missing payments. You can't do that. But RedX has a great service, man, and they you contact them, tell them I sent you, and they will waive the $150 setup fee. Mark asked, when do I typically call expireds or for sale by owners? Man, I like to call in the morning, okay? And I like to get on the phone at 8 o'clock in the morning. And there's a couple of reasons why, I'll tell you. For me, calling from 8 to 10 or 8 to 11 is best. And the reason being is because I get up, man, I go through my little morning routine. So when 8 o'clock comes, I'm like ready to go. Okay, if I don't do it first thing in the morning, then what happens is the day and life gets in my way. I mean, for you guys that have been listening to me for a while, you guys know that I sell real estate, but then I do coaching, and I have several businesses and stuff going on, and several things that I like to do. I like to buy and sell mobile homes, and my mobile home collection's getting really extensive. But if I wait, man, and I say, oh, I'm going to wait and call today, I'm going to wait and call at 6 o'clock tonight, then honestly, the day just gets in my way. And at 6 o'clock at night, I don't want to talk to people. I don't want to see people. I'm not like really friendly sometimes at 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning. So for me, the best time to do it is when will you actually do it? And for me, it's in the morning, and I've just kind of set up my routine around that. And I've been doing that in the morning for the last 10, 12 years. And that's what time works for me. But you got to schedule. That's the most important thing. If it's not my schedule and it's not my day planner, dude, I am not going to do it. And that's just being straight up with you. If I don't have you in there, it's not going to happen. And so you have to schedule those times. So Lee, yes, actually, I've got my 6 favorite for sale by owner sources in the book. And it's just send me a message and I'll give you a copy. Hey, Megan, message me. I'll make sure I get it when I get off of this. I can't really see my messages while I'm doing Facebook Live on my phone, but I'm sorry if there's any problems. I think it's just Facebook. How often would you suggest doing open houses a week when first getting in the business? Nikki, in my market, Saturdays and Sundays are the best. Now, I don't think open houses are bad. Sometimes I say like I'm not a fan of them and I think it's a better use of your time, but I don't think open houses are bad. But you have to prepare for them, right? And sometimes like doing an open house Saturday and Sunday every single week is exhausting. And what I mean by preparing for them, you got to have a plan. And I talked about this a few weeks ago in my group coaching. You got to have a plan for it. Whether you're going to send out postcards, whether you're going to do Facebook ads, to go and knock on all the doors and invite all the neighbors. If you just show up, stick a sign in the front yard with a balloon on it, then you're probably going to get really disappointed. For me, like I've done open houses and I've been really successful doing them in the past. I really like, for me, lots of times though, I feel like instead of spending that 3 hours it's really by the time you get set up, get your signs out, do 3-hour open house, go pick up your signs and all that stuff, you're really spending 5 or 6 hours. I mean, it's going to be 5 or 6 hours, probably 8 hours by the time, you leave home, travel there, travel back home and all that stuff. It's a 6 to 8 hour day on Saturdays. For me, I feel like that 3 or 4 hours on a Saturday is probably better use of my time on the phone, because if you make calls on Saturday morning, you're actually going to get a lot of people home, Sunday afternoons are the same way. If you make calls on Sunday afternoon, you're going to get a lot of people home that you normally wouldn't get on on the during the week. So I mean, that's just me, But I don't think open houses are bad. I don't want to discourage you from doing them. Just you got to plan it and you got to prepare for it. Hey Cheryl, how do you find pre-foreclosure people? Many of them have moved. Usually, if they've just started missing their payments, then there's a good chance you can catch them. Especially if you're using Red-X, you're actually getting cell phone numbers. So Red-X has got if you're using their system, that's probably one of the best ways to do it. Lots of times, though, they forwarded their mail, so sometimes you can mail them something. I had a lot of success in the past with a combination of mail and phone calls, and then just looking for them online. Hey James, what do I do to keep motivated? Man, I think there's several things you got to do, and one is a big list of goals, like having a big list of goals, right? Not just those one or two things, making a goal list and putting everything on there, dude. If you want a new car, if you want to go on a trip, even if that trip is dumb, or you want tickets to, some college football game that see some team that's your favorite team or whatever. I think you have to have a goal list, and I think you have to put everything on it. And I mean, I'm talking about everything. If you want to do that weekend getaway, you put it on there. And I think there's some satisfaction in checking off that list. Two, I don't like the term the big why. But I do think you need to come up with your why you're doing certain things and why you're working as hard as you do. And I mean, I kind of made this list for myself, the big why. And, for you guys that follow me, we just had a little girl like 2 months ago. And, I've been working really hard. I've been kind of changing my business, and I've been doing some things that I wasn't doing before. And I've been really overcoming some fears and stuff that I had, and some self-limiting beliefs I had. And one of the things that has done that for me was, hey, I don't want to have to tell my little girl no because of money ever. I don't ever want to have to tell her no because of money. Now, we might tell her no because, hey, we don't think it's the best thing for her, or it's not a healthy choice, or it's not I don't want to have to tell her no because of financial reasons, So, and I don't want us or her, me or Laura, to have to worry about money. So there's a lot of things that I've been doing that and I've changed my business plan a little bit so that we could do that. Also, one of the things that help you guys too is a gratitude list. Like, nobody ever talks about these. I kind of learned this from Jack Canfield. He is the writer of Chicken Soup for the Soul. And I was listening to Tony Robbins, and I like to listen to him sometimes too, and he has some different ideas and things. So one of the things he talks about is having a gratitude list that you review. Because here's the thing, you can't have gratitude in your heart and your mind and have fear in your heart and mind at the same time. They can't inhabit you at the same time. So if you have the feeling of gratitude, you cannot have the feeling of fear. So having that gratitude list, and what that is a list of things that you're thankful for. And it could be anything. Like, hey, I'm thankful for my dog. I'm thankful for the community that we live in. It's beautiful here. I'm thankful for our house. I'm thankful for the lady that sold us our house, But a list of things that you're really thankful for, And combination of those things, man, just keeps me motivated. Plus my morning schedule and my morning routine. So, hey, Arthur, yeah, this audio broadcast, I think it's brand new. I think it's brand new. Parker's wanting to tell you guys, hey, she's kind of mumbling and babbling and stuff here today. It's kind of funny. But how much is Red-X? Red-X varies depending on the service that you get. Like the service that I really recommend people to get is I recommend that you get Red-X, the expireds with Onyx, and their dialer, the Storm dialer, and for cell owners. And I think that package is $249 a month. Now there's some cheaper options, like their expired, their regular expireds is only like, I think, $60 a month, and I think the for sale by owners like $30 a month. But now here's the thing: like at a minimum, I would get for sale by owners, because once you get their for sale by owner database, well, when you subscribe to their for sale by owners for $30 a month, you also get their whole database of past for sale by owners. So you can grab that database and have like 1,000, 2,000 numbers to start calling today. So I think that's really great. Tell them I sent you. They'll waive the $150 setup fee, and sometimes they have package deals and stuff. So it just depends on the service that you're looking for, and they offer a lot of different services. So Zach, for sale by owners, that's probably number one. I like for sale by owners. I like ZBuyer. ZBuyer is probably them and RedX are probably my number one and number two favorite sources of listings. Those are the two services that I actually subscribe to and actually pay money for. So I hope my morning routine. My morning routine is a little different because I'm constantly creating content. I'm constantly working, but I'll tell you what it is. I usually get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and usually the first thing I do, other than going to the bathroom, is I get up, I make coffee. Then usually when I'm drinking coffee, I try to listen to something motivational or read something motivational. So I have a lot of different things I've subscribed to on YouTube, whether it's Tony Robbins, Zig Ziglar, Brian Tracy. There's a ton of them. There's a ton of stuff that I just subscribe to on YouTube. So I always have like a fresh list of things to listen to. I like Gary Vaynerchuk. I really like Gary Vaynerchuk. Sometimes I get tired of his like work attitude, because sometimes, it's hard to work 7 days a week, 20 hours a day. You know what I mean? And sometimes I really like him, but sometimes I get tired of that. You know what I mean? I like Grant Cardone, but I'll be honest with you guys, I'm not a big fan of this Cardone Capital thing he's doing with apartment complexes. I'm not saying it's a bad idea, but my investment strategy is a little bit different, and I feel like for the average investor out there, I don't know if that's a good direction to go in. And I've been around for a while, and I've seen about everything, and I've seen how this plays out with some of this syndication investment stuff. I'm not a fan of that for unexperienced real estate people. So, but Megan, so you're trying to start. I'm going to start part-time. Should I do morning and weekends, or afternoons would be better? I would prospect when you can. I mean, that's the thing. Just put it in your schedule and prospect when you can, Mate, how do you mean regular expireds? I use Vulcan, and their data is very good. I will tell you, man, the thing I don't like about Vulcan 7, and for you guys listening to this, if you're a big Vulcan fan, it's working for you in your market, that's great. But the thing Vulcan 7 does with their data, this is number one, okay? They scale down their data based on calling, based on their calling app. So if you got 5 or 6 people in your market that are using Vulcan 7, and and they check off expired number 1. Maybe the guy with expired number 1 is he's just an asshole, right? And he's telling everybody it's the wrong number. So you got 5 people in your market calling. The first 3 that call mark that they all mark that expired is the wrong number. So that expired gets removed from your database. You're not the person removing it. Vulcan 7's the person removing it, right? And so I don't like that. I like to remove the numbers myself. So what Redx has a service, a premium service called Onyx. So what they do is they search for every number that has ever been associated with that particular address. So, and they search all these databases. I don't know where all the data comes from, but I can tell you this. If there's 10 expireds in my market right now, I'll have numbers for all 10. Now, I might have 3 or 4 numbers for all 10. And what my job is that's the top layer of my funnel. So my job is to call down through all those numbers and pare them down, the numbers that are disconnected. I get everything. I get all the data. So, and I sift through the data myself. So what I get is I get a lot of numbers that are hard to get numbers. So, and that's what I really like about Onyx is I get a lot of numbers that are really hard to get. Now, sometimes I might get their brother's number or I might get their 16-year-old kid's cell phone number, right? But that's not a problem. You just say, hey, I'm trying to get in touch with your mom and dad. What's their number? Sorry to bother you. So sometimes you get the next door neighbor's number, but you get every number that they can find that's been associated with that, and then you go down through it yourself. And I really like that because I control what happens to the data that I'm buying. And with Vulcan 7, you don't get that. So yeah, but that's their premium service. You have to be an agent that's prospecting, though. They're going to ask you some questions. You got to qualify for it. You got to tell them that you're prospecting. You got to tell them you call the do not call numbers. You got to tell, because, sometimes you may get 100 numbers for, 15 expireds for today. And you're going to get wrong numbers because this is mined data and you're getting every number that has been associated with that. So when calling for sale owners, you have better luck with just listed or 30 to 45 days. Debbie, I call them as soon as I get the data. I don't waste no time. Jennifer, what do you think of cold data? Honestly, I don't really like cold data. Number one, I think it's really expensive that you pay for it all up front. I mean, Redx has their new GeoLead service that's their comparable plan where you just drop a pin and it pulls like 200 or 300 numbers in a radius. I think that you're better off to try the Redx data before trying the cold data. So, James, what kind of follow-up plan do you recommend? Man, I talk about this all the time in group coaching, my follow-up plan. And actually, there's an example of my for sale owner follow-up plan that's in my book. But I think you gotta plan, man, and I think you gotta plan like extensive follow-up. Like you need to plan like 15 to 20 follow-up calls. I mean, that's where you're gonna do the most of your business. Is your follow-ups. It's not gonna be the calls that you make the day one call. You're gonna get lucky and you're gonna set an appointment or two on day one. But the real money's gonna be made in your follow-up, not your initial calls. So you gotta have a follow-up plan, and you need to write it out what your plan is. What are you gonna do day one? What are you gonna do day two? What are you gonna do day three? Are you gonna send out mailers? I mean, I think the best ways to follow up is phone, text, and email. I think that's the top three. Mail would probably be number 4. I don't like stopping by anybody's house and just knocking on the door, but sometimes you do that, but it's not my top 4. You know what I mean? So, Nikki asked, when first getting into the business, what do you suggest is the best for lead generation? Nikki, I think you should jump right in. I mean, I don't think you should wait. I don't think you should do anything. Like I hear people say, oh, don't call expireds at first. But look here, the sooner you start calling them, the sooner you start practicing your scripts and dialogues. I would get me a script. I would start practicing today. Look for you a role play partner today. I would not wait at all. I would jump right in, start calling for sale by owners like today if you wanted to. I mean, send me a message. I'll give you a copy of my book. It'll tell you kind of how to get started with for sale by owners. And I'll tell you, I'll give you the book, and then you get started with for sale by owners like this weekend, putting your system and stuff together. Probably take an hour to read through the book. It's going to be in PDF format. You can print out my script. It's on the last page, and then you can look for your role play partners. Make a post in Real Estate Agents that really work, and just say, hey, look, I'm using Jason's for sale by owner script. I'm looking for a role play partner, and find you a couple of them. James asked, when you're filling your pipeline for sellers, what's the best time for a follow-up plan? I think you need a follow-up plan like today, man. I wouldn't wait at all. Espresso Agent. You know what? I'm not a big fan of Espresso Agent. I'm pretty hardcore Redx guy. I've been using them for 10 years. I've switched and I've tried different expired services and stuff. I mean, for me, I thought Vulcan 7 was really expensive, and I didn't really feel like I got better numbers or better results. A Land Voice, every agent I talk to that is having a problem getting in touch with expireds is using Land Voice. I don't even have to ask them if they say, "Oh, well, I made 300 calls and I didn't get anybody on the phone." Land Voice, I don't know where their data comes from, but their data sucks. So, I've never heard of Real Estate Pipeline. Matt, I'm curious, how do you qualify leads? 30 days, 60 days, 120, not interested. That's how I do it. And how often do you follow up with each group? Matt, I really focus hard on the people that I think I'm going to list in the next 30 days. I mean, the people that are 2, 3, 4 months out, they don't know, they're a year out, whatever. Honestly, like, I kind of throw them in my pile with follow up later. And when I kind of, those days that you kind of feel like you run out of leads, then I call back through that pile, but I really focus hard on the people that I think I can do business with in the next 2 to 4 weeks. Elijah asked, did I ever door knock, and what you liked? Didn't. You know what? I've door knocked. And especially like before I've done open houses. Door knocking to invite people to open houses, man, it's a really easy conversation. It's a really easy sale. Like, hey, knock, knock, knock. This is Jason Morris with eXp Realty. I just wanted to stop by. We're having an open house at 123 Main Street tomorrow from 1 to 4. I'd love for you to stop by. By the way, do you know anybody else thinking about selling in the neighborhood? Open house door knocking is super easy. Also, when I first started the business, I prefer calling over door knocking. And the reason being is because I can call like 10 numbers by the time I can walk to 3 houses, so, but I like having a door knocking routine, like a 5-5-10. Like you go preview house number 1, and then you knock on the doors. You knock on doors 5 to the left, 5 to the right, and then 10 across the street. I think having a system like that and previewing houses is pretty effective. And I think it's really, really great. So going and knocking on everybody's door in a neighborhood for just no apparent reason, that's, I don't know, for me, it's always been hard to kind of wrap my head around that. But I think you got to have a system, and you got to have a system you follow, Kentura, well, I'll start another REDX promo. I missed the trial period. Yeah, you know what? I have some really cool things in the works with REDX. I mean, if you guys don't know, I have a really close relationship with them. I was probably one of their first 300 or 400 subscribers. And, for my group and for you guys that are in the group, they always have the special where, they give you $150 off the sign-up fee. So basically, they waive the $150 sign-up fee. And then they often have some specials and package deals and stuff like that. Some deals if you pay quarterly and stuff. As far as REDX, a free type promo or free trial period, guys, I'll tell you, I'm working on an expired thing with them. Like, we haven't released all the details with it. I got a planning call with them this week. We're going to plan it out, map it out. It's going to be similar to that for sale by owner master, becoming a FSBO master thing that I done a month or so ago, but it's going to be the expired version of that. So I'm actually mapping it out with their content writers, and I know they're going to offer something really cool with it. I don't know what it's going to be yet. They're really great and easy to work with for me, and I'm a really big fan of theirs, and I think they're a fan of mine, or at least they really like me sometimes, I guess. But so yeah, I've got some really cool plan with that. I've got a big day training thing planned too that I haven't narrowed down the day, but I'm gonna have like 6 or 8 speakers, and it's all gonna be free. It's gonna be on Facebook, and we're kind of they're helping me put it all together, so we haven't really planned anything yet. I think we're going to have Haas Pratt talk about some great things. I think we're going to have Barino. I think we're going to have John Marcello. He's my buddy. We're going to have some stuff with him and more GCI, and I'm not really sure who yet. Then we're going to have a couple of panels and some really cool stuff like that. So I'll let you guys know as soon as we get everything kind of nailed down and stuff. But James, my understanding is the same thing, that espresso's kind of the cheaper version of Vulcan 7. So I've tried it. Honestly, I wasn't a big fan. Every time I switch, I end up going back to every time I've ever switched, I went back to Red X. I get offered free trials on stuff all the time. I get offered a lot of free trials where, they want to give me a free trial, and then they want me to tell you guys about it and hope that, I can help them sign up people to it. And honestly, if it's a free trial, honestly, I'm not a big believer in spending a lot of money on leads and data. And, my business nowadays, for you guys that don't know, I had a big team. I had a big team for years, where between rental leases and sales and stuff, we're doing about 400 transactions a year. I was in the top 50 in North America. I've probably been involved in over 2,000 transactions. And one of the things that's insane is that when I had a big team, I also had big overhead that went along with it. And I ended up getting really burnt out. I got burnt out. I got really tired of the real estate business. I never gave up my license or quit completely, but for about 6 or 7 months, I just kind of hung out. I was getting divorced and stuff. And when I got back into the business, when I decided I needed to start back going to work, the one thing I decided I wanted to do was I didn't want to have the overhead. So I'm not a big believer in spending money on things that are not going to produce results for me or not going to produce a big return. Like, I have friends that tell me about Zillow. And they're going out there and they're spending $4,000 or $5,000 a month on Zillow, and they're getting back like $8,000 or $10,000 in return. Well, guys, honestly, if you got a $4,000 or $5,000 bill a month for your business, and you're only getting back like 10 grand back. I know that sounds like a lot, and there's people out there that go, oh, that's 100% return on your investment. Guys, if you're having to work for that 100% return, that sucks. Okay? That really sucks. Now, if you can go out here and you can pay for a service like let's say ZBuyer, for example, and I'm paying $360 a month for ZBuyer. That's what I pay. Okay, so I'm paying $360 a month for ZBuyer, but like this month from ZBuyer, I should close. I got a $140,000 transaction closing, and honestly, I got one that's $150,000 that may close, it may not. I don't know. I'm not getting real excited about it, but at a 3% commission, that's a $9,000 I'm going to make off of ZBuyer leads this month. So, dude, I spent $360. I got back $9,000, right? And Red X FSBO's $30 a month. If I can get one deal a month out of that, at $100,000, what kind of return is that? I'll make $3,000 off a $30 a month investment. So it doesn't make a lot of sense to me to go out and spend $4,000 or $5,000 on Zillow to make, my 4 or 5 grand back plus $4,000 or $5,000. It doesn't make sense. And what if I take off a week? Here's how my life usually goes. Is I end up planning a week vacation, and then it ends up taking me like a week to recover and get back in the groove of things. So that 1 week turns into 2 weeks of not calling, right? So I missed 50% of the week. I'm spending $4,000 or $5,000 a month. And for 2 weeks there, I didn't convert shit. And I didn't work on anything. So what's that going to do to my return? I miss half the month. So I'm only going to get half the transactions from it. So spending that sort of money on Zillow just doesn't make sense. I think you're better off if you're looking for buyer leads and you're wanting to spend money on something. I think Facebook ads are probably the best bang for your buck. But anyway, guys, hey, I really appreciate you being on this with me today. Hey, if you guys are thinking about group coaching or something, you need to work on your systems. You're thinking about getting your systems in place. Send me a message. I'll send you a coupon code to get 65% off. So my group coaching is $35 a month right now, and it's a month to month. It renews every month at $30. And guys, if I can help you with your business, send me a message. If you're on this call live, send me a message. I'm going to give away some of my free books. And anyway, or at least I'm going to give away my book for say the next hour. I told you I'd give away 20 copies, but I probably already got 20 messages. So I'm going to give it away like for the next hour from this post. So anyway, guys, if I can help you, just send me a message, and you guys have a fantastic Saturday. I got a little girl that's been watching me do this, and she's getting a little bit fussy with me. She's wanting to play with Daddy. So I'll talk to you guys later. Have a great day.